Hey guys, so today we're going to be looking at parallel lines cut by a transversal and using algebraic expressions to solve for angle measurements. You need to make sure that you know all of your angle relationships and whether they are supplementary or congruent. So for our first example, I'm comparing angle 58 here to 5x minus 2. And the first thing I'm going to do is determine what their relationship is. So I can see that these are both on the right side of the transversal. And remember, the transversal is the line that cuts through the two parallel lines. So these are both on the right side. 58 is on top of parallel line L, and 5x minus 2 is on top of parallel line M, which means that these angles are on the same side in the same location, which makes them corresponding angles. Next, we need to determine whether these angles are congruent or supplementary. So when I look at angle 58 here, I can tell that's an acute angle, and I also know that because it's smaller than 90 degrees. When I look at 5x minus 2, I can also see that that is an acute angle. And if you recall from your notes, corresponding angles are congruent. So that means both of these angles are going to be acute, and they're going to be the same measurement. So since both of these angles are going to be congruent, that means that my equation is going to be 5x minus 2 equals 58, because remember, congruent means that they're the same measurement, so they are equal. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and solve this equation for x, and we would get that x is equal to 12. Now, if I plug this in to double check 5x minus 2, and I replace the x with 12, we would get 58 degrees for that angle because they are congruent. Right, in number 2, I am comparing 16x plus 22 to 134. So looking at my transversal, one angle is on the right and one angle is on the left, and that makes them alternate because they're on opposite sides. 16x plus 22 is on the outside of the parallel lines, and 134 is on the outside of the parallel lines. So that makes these alternate exterior angles. All right, now I'm looking at whether they are congruent or supplementary. So I know that I already have 134 degrees, and I can tell that this is also an obtuse angle. It's bigger than 90 degrees. So there's no way that these could be supplementary because 134 plus 46 would give me 180. And there's no way that 16x plus 22 is equal to 46. So that means that these angles are congruent. All right, now we're going to set up our equation. So we get 16x plus 22 equals 134. All right, and we're going to get that x is equal to 7. And if you want to plug it in to double check, you can. So 16x, I'm going to replace the x with 7. All right, so if we replace the x with 7, 16 times 7 plus 22 does give us 134 degrees. All right, in our next picture, this transversal is kind of flipped on its side. So I showed you if I were to rotate it clockwise, we would end up with this picture here. But you're going to need to be able to kind of look at the transversals and still determine their angle measurements even if it's flipped. So we have 7x minus 1, and we are comparing that to 125. So these are both inside the parallel lines, and they are on opposite sides. So inside the parallel lines on opposite sides would make them alternate interior angles. Looking at both of these angles, I can tell that they are both obtuse angles, and that tells me that these angles are going to be congruent. So that makes our equation 7x minus 1 equals 125, and let's go ahead and solve it. And we're going to get that x is equal to 18. Right? If you wanted to plug it in and double check, so we have 7x minus 1 So that would be 7 times 18 minus 1, which does give us 125. Right, number 4 is the same thing, so it's kind of flipped around. So I went ahead and rotated it just so you could see what it would look like if you rotate. So I have 9x plus 2, and I am comparing that to 133. Now I can see that the 9x minus 2 is an acute angle and the 133 is an obtuse angle. So first let's determine the relationship. So they are on the same side. They're both on the right side of the transversal, or if you're looking at this one, they're kind of on top of the transversal. But either way, they're on the same side. And they're both inside the parallel lines here. So that's going to make them same side interior angles. All right, and as I said before, I can tell that the 9x plus 2 is smaller than 90, and the 133 is bigger than 90. So that tells me that these are going to be supplementary angles. Right, so since they're supplementary, that means when I set up my equation, I'm going to add the two angles together, and I'm going to set it equal to 180. So that gives us 9x plus 2 plus 133 equals 180, and I'm going to go ahead and solve this. Right, and we're going to get that x is equal to 5. Now you can plug this in to double check. So we would have 9 times 5 plus 2. So 9 times 5 is 45, plus 2 would give us 47. So that would make this angle here 47, and then we have 133, which would give us 180. For my next problem, we are comparing 8x minus 77 to 3x plus 38. So 8x minus 77 is on the left side of the transversal, and 3x plus 38 is on the right side. And they are both outside of the parallel lines, which makes them alternate exterior angles. Alternate exterior angles are congruent. So when I set up my equation, I'm going to set these two angles equal to each other. So that would give us 8x minus 77 equals 3x plus 38. And now when I have variables on both sides, I want to cancel out one of the x's. That way I can have the x on one side and the variable on the other. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract the 3x to keep it positive. So 8x minus 3x would give us 5x minus 77 equals 38. And now we just have a two-step equation to solve. And we're going to get that x is equal to 23. And now if we were asked to plug it in and find the value of the angle, that means that I'm going to replace the x with 23 in angle A and angle B. All right, so for angle A, you should get 107 degrees. And now we'll plug it in for angle B. And for angle B, we also get 107 because they are congruent. Right, for our next example, we're comparing 11x minus 47 to 6x minus 2. So they are both on the left side of the transversal. And 11x minus 47 is underline L, and 6x minus 2 is underline M. So they're on the same side in the same location, which makes them corresponding angles. Corresponding angles are congruent, and if I just look at those two angles, I can tell that they're both acute angles. They are congruent. So if they're congruent, I set the two expressions equal to one another. So that's going to give me 11x minus 47 equals 6x minus 2. So I'm going to start off by canceling out one of the x's, and I'm going to subtract 6x. So again, it stays positive. So 11x minus 6x would give us 5. So 5x minus 47 equals negative 2. And then I'm going to go ahead and keep solving. And we're going to get that x is equal to 9. And then we're going to plug it in to get the value of each angle. And you should get that each angle is equal to 52 degrees. All right, you're going to try these on your own. So number 7, what type of relationship? right? These are alternate interior angles. Are they congruent or supplementary? Alternate interior angles are congruent, right? Next, set up your equation, right? You should have 13x minus 21 equals 5x plus 75. Right, subtracting 5x would give you 8x minus 21 equals 75, and keep solving. Right, you should get that x is equal to 12, and now we want the value of each angle. And you should have gotten 135 degrees for both angle A and B because they are congruent. All right, and number 8, determine their relationship. Right, these are same side exterior angles because they are both on the left side of the transversal, and they are both outside of the parallel line. So same side exterior. Right, are same side exterior angles congruent or supplementary? Right, they are supplementary, so that means that I'm going to add the two expressions together and set it equal to 180. So we get 9x minus 33 plus 5x plus 3 equals 180, and we're going to go